Okay, in this video we are going to cover integrating the Compustar T13 Pro keypad with the AIM PDM 32 power distribution module. So this is cool. Looks easy, but everything takes time to figure out, so I'll cover some of these details. Alright, so in an earlier video, I covered a demo of the PDM system, or the AIM PDM 32. So that's going to provide all the power, well, mostly all the power to the components on the car. And I've got the digital display, and I've got the canned keypads with all the labels I'm going to use. So it's a really nice system. And then I purchased a number of components from Compustar. So we'll take a look at my iPad here. So this is the brain of the unit. It's called the FirstTech CMX. FirstTech is actually the company that owns Compustar. Then I purchased the Compustar programming device. So the main brain is programmable, and you can basically change the personalities of the inputs and outputs in some of the logic that the system has. And also you could reassign inputs and outputs. So it is a handy device. It can't do if then else logic. So, sometimes you want to do something, and if it's not within the personality or a predefined option, you're sort of SOL and you got to figure out another way. Then you have the key fobs, and in my opinion, these are like the nicest key fobs out there. So it comes with an antenna. It's a two-way key fob. And it does display a lot of information. You could set with the digital key fob. You can actually set a lot of the options with the key fob itself. Okay, so those are the products. Be in mind, beware that I purchased all this stuff on eBay, and it is fairly reasonable for what you get. But there really is no support. So Compustar sells exclusively through dealers. And the dealers will program the system for you, obviously for a fee. But if you call them and you're an end user for support, they just really won't take your call. I mean, they're nice and everything, but they don't want the liability of dealing with the customer direct. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, we're looking at the Compustar CMX, or FirstTech CMX right there. And unfortunately, this module doesn't have an easy way to send a positive signal to the PDM to wake it up. So the PDM is always connected to the battery and also the ground, but there's one wire that will power it up, and that's a low amperage wire, but there's no specific wire that goes high from the CMX module when you disarm the system. So you have to sort of fool it a little bit. So in order to fool it, I came up with a concept of using two little logic circuits. So this is one logic circuit, and this is another logic circuit. And I bought these off of eBay. This is called a latching relay. So basically you can take the trigger from the arm and disarm signal from the CMX, and it will either turn on the PDM or turn it off. And the neat thing is, when it turns off or on, it actually uses 0 amps, draws 0 amps once it's done switching. So once you walk away from the car, the only thing that's powered is the CMX module, and that will use about 15 milliamps. So, my battery will last a long time without a trickle charger. The other circuit I have here, this is a delay timer. And the delay timer is needed for a couple reasons. So I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to light up the key fob here. This key fob is really nice. I mean, this is just so cool. And basically, if you shut it off, it immediately shuts the PDM off. Now, there's a little icon here. It's sort of hard to see. It has a proximity feature, and I sort of like the proximity feature because when you approach the car, it'll automatically power up the PDM, which is nice. But if you're in the car and you accidentally hit, the lock button, it immediately shuts the PDM off. So, what happens if you do that while you're driving? That's not too good. Okay, so I'm introducing this timer circuit that I can keep the system on during the interval that the key has to be re-recognized and re-disarm the system. So basically it's about 12 seconds. So it's this little circuit here that's adjustable. So I'm going to change that, and we'll see that when I hit off, it doesn't actually shut the PDM off. Alright, so I adjusted the rotary knob just to delay it a few seconds. So now I'll shut it off, but you see the PDM doesn't power down. Now it powers down, and a total of 12 seconds the CMX will sense that the key fob is in range, and it will disarm the system and repower the PDM. So the idea here is I'm going to adjust that timer to 5 minutes, so the PDM will never shut off by accident. And also I want to keep the PDM powered up because I want to be able to run the cooling fans in the rear of the car to further cool the car after I've shut it off. That's really to prevent the shifter cables from melting and just blow some air on the catalytic converters. They're pretty tightly packed in the back. They are not too far from the shifter cables. All right, so that's sort of the idea behind the system. Hope you enjoyed the demo. If you want more detail about these logic circuits, you can look at my build thread on gt40s.com or my Facebook build page. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.